Good evening. You're watching the main news on HKIBC. I'm Joanna Ho. Here's a look at tonight's top stories. Legislative Council to welcome 4 new faces after a smooth by-election. Police play down the role of correctional officers accused of failing to stop abduction outside Stanley Prison. And Siobhan Haughey successfully defends her 200-meter freestyle world title in Melbourne. The Legislative Council by-election for the Election Committee constituency were completed in less than 5 hours. A university professor and a Chinese medicine practitioner were among the 4 winners. Joanna Ho reports.
More than 5 months since 4 lawmakers vacated their seats to join the government, a by-election was held this morning to fill the vacancies. 6 candidates entered the race in the Election Committee constituency, but there were only 4 winners. By obtaining 1,028 ballots, Chen Wing-kwong from the DAB party was crowned King of Votes. When asked about his aspirations upon entering LegCo, his party leaders rushed to answer on the Chinese medicine practitioner's behalf.
He has the edge, and also he has his expertise in the Chinese medicine. And of course, going forward, he will put a lot of effort in promoting and enhancing the entire industry and the use of Chinese medicine.
DAB Chairwoman Starry Lee added the party will continue to work with different sectors of the community. Another new face in LegCo will be William Wong, Associate Dean of the Chinese University's engineering faculty.
I have always been wanting Hong Kong to become an innovation and technology hub, and I have been working very hard on it. I'm very glad that I'm elected. As such, I'm given another platform to push what I believe, and that is to develop Hong Kong as a hub for innovation and technology.
Shang Hailong, who shares the same focus as Wong in technology, as well as New People's Party member Adrian Ho, were also elected. But Gary Wong, a public affairs executive who was once the convener of the moderate think tank Path of Democracy, has lost his 3rd bid to become a lawmaker. He won 791 votes, just 21 less than Shang, while Lee Kuang-yu from the Federation of Trade Unions only garnered 781, the fewest of the 6. Voting at the Convention and Exhibition Center in Wan Chai opened between 9 and 11:30 a.m. Just over 1,300 people from the exclusive group turned up, representing a turnout of 90.7%. That was almost 8% lower than the previous poll last December. The Electoral Affairs Commission had estimated the vote count to last 3 hours, but it only took 1 in the end as the results were announced at 1 p.m. Commission Chairman David Locke said everything went very smoothly. Chief Executive John Lee will swear in the 4 elected candidates at a ceremony in LegCo tomorrow. Joanna Ho, HKIBC.
2 correctional officers from Stanley Prison are under fire after they failed to stop a blatant abduction under their watch. The victim was later rescued, and police are calling on the public not to pass judgment for an act which happened in a split second. In a scene which resembled a crime film, a woman was dragged onto a van by several men in broad daylight yesterday morning. The brazen act raised more eyebrows, for it occurred outside Stanley Prison and amid intervention by 2 correctional officers and other bystanders. The group still managed to flee the scene before the vehicle was pulled over outside Ocean Park, near 9 kilometers away. The 32-year-old woman was rescued. She suffered light injuries and has since been discharged from hospital. Police have arrested 3 men and 1 woman, aged 16 to 37, for false imprisonment, assault causing bodily harm, and dangerous driving. They confirmed the suspects were friends with the victim for over a year. But relations soured following a money dispute involving hundreds of thousands of dollars. It is believed some of the suspects had a triad background. As to why the prison guards had failed to stop the blatant crime, Chief Inspector Wang Yufai refused to comment.
你好難以一個第三者事後嘅情況。
It's hard to gauge from a third-person point of view what someone should or shouldn't do at that moment, Wang said. He added one officer suffered light head injuries when the van drove away. He also thanked other witnesses for trying to stop the attackers and urged anyone with information to approach the Western District Anti-Triad Unit.
我覺得佢哋應該可以進取啲啦，因為好明顯唔係打交啊。
But former Security Chief Regina Yip was less forgiving. The executive councillor felt the prison guards should have been more aggressive, as it was obviously not a fight, as the two officers called it at the scene. Yip said it was only fortunate that police intercepted the vehicle, as there could be dire consequences otherwise. Financial Secretary Paul Chan has launched the consultation for his upcoming budget.
Consultation for the 2023 to 24 budget has started.
Chan will deliver his sixth budget on February 22nd. He cited a number of difficulties formulating the government spending plan, such as geopolitical uncertainties, supply chain disruptions, and global inflation. The government is also facing a deficit of over $100 billion, while the local economy is expected to shrink by 3.2%. But Chan believes that the economy will improve as the city gradually resumes business activities with the mainland and the world. The Hong Kong Cyclothon was back for the first time since 2018, marking another small step for the city to return to pre-COVID normality. But strong winds forced organizers to shut down a stretch of the route along two bridges, causing massive disappointment for many. Katrina Lau reports.
The temperature dropped to single digit this morning, but the cold didn't bother these cyclists who were raring to go. They gathered at Salisbury Road in Tim Sa Choi way before dawn, eager to ride through the city's usually gridlocked streets and onto three road bridges, which are off limits to cyclists.
3, 2, 1.
As the horn sounded, the Hong Kong Cyclothon was finally underway, ending a 3-year hiatus due to social unrest and COVID. But in a huge blow to 50-kilometer contestants, their route was cut short after strong winds made cycling on the Ting Ma and Ting Kau bridges unsafe. They could still proceed along Stonecutters Bridge, but that didn't placate some participants who wanted a refund. Star cyclist Sarah Lee called for understanding, saying safety comes first for everyone. The track cyclist, who usually trains indoors, hoped the next edition could be staged under milder weather. Some participants said they layered on more clothes to combat the cold, but were still disappointed for having their route cut short. But others tried to put a positive spin on the situation, saying it was still a great experience to pedal through tunnels. As a sign of inclusivity, entry was also given to people with disabilities.
One of the main reasons I want to join is to actually make sure that there's an understanding of inclusive sports. So I'm a disabled person, I'm in a wheelchair, but I want to make sure that everybody can take part in different types of sports.
5-time Olympic cyclist Wong Kam Po and local fencing Olympian Ryan Choi were also part of the finishers. Katrina Lau, HKIBC.
Local writer Chen Yin, better known as CC, has passed away aged 85. The news was confirmed this morning in a social media post by Suye Publications, the now-defunct publisher CC and other literary enthusiasts founded in 1978. The writer was accompanied by her family and friends in hospital. Born in Shanghai in 1937, CC moved to Hong Kong in the 1950s and started writing novels, prose, and poems. Her most famous work, My City, A Hong Kong Story, had won awards in Hong Kong and Taiwan. She had also won the Life Achievement Award from the Arts Development Council this year. In a statement, Culture Chief Kevin Yeung expressed his deepest condolences to Cici's family and recognized her contribution to Hong Kong's literary sector. Overseas, Iran has continued to crack down against dissent, with a high-profile actress now arrested for expressing solidarity with an anti-government protester. Taraneh Al-Adosti, who starred in the Oscar-winning film The Salesman, was detained for publishing provocative content. The 38-year-old had called on the world to respond to the first protester executed by Iranian authorities in an Instagram post. Her account has since been suspended. State media confirmed several other Iranian celebrities had also been summoned, but did not give details. Less than 1 in 10 eligible voters in Tunisia turned up for the parliamentary elections amid calls for a boycott. The turnout of 8.8% was a record low for the vote, held ironically on the 11th anniversary of the Arab Spring movement. Observers reported there were more staff and security than voters for most of the day. Opposition parties said people stayed away from the polls as a silent protest to poor governance and the economic crisis. They're also calling on President Kais Saied to step down, saying he's lost all his legitimacy. The vote was triggered after Saied suspended the parliament last year and redrew the constitution to solidify his rule. On to the weather now. Remaining fine and very dry tomorrow. Temperatures will range between 9 and 15 degrees. The mercury will slowly pick up in the coming days. Now let's take a look at the weather around the world. That's our main news for Sunday night. Join us for more news at 11. I'm Joanna Ho. Thanks for watching. Good night.